All right, let's get started. Welcome everybody to the inaugural DeFi working group for Casper Network. Let's begin with an agenda. This is what we'll go over today. Why are we here? What's new at Casper? Quite a bit, as you may know. We'll take a good look at our DeFi ecosystem. Look at what we already have and what we lack and what we can do better, and we'll discuss next steps. So let's begin with why are we here, right? So the goals of this DeFi
This call
working
may be
group.
recorded for note-taking and coaching purposes.
That is actually a good point, just so that everybody is aware. This call is recorded, and both a summary as well as either the full or a cut of the recording will be shared with the community in the interest of full transparency with our community, which is important to all of us. Well, actually, let's start with who's here. So I think I know most, if not all of you personally. I'm Michael Stoyer. I'm the CTO for the Casper Association. We are joined by Matt Schaffnitz, who is the CFO/COO and as announced earlier this week, a future board member of the Casper Association as well. We have Ed Hastings, the head of engineering for core development. Alize Carly, our head of strategy and growth. We have Adrian Rona. We have Devendran, and I'm not sure if Piotr is here, but this is the project management team at Casper Association. Piotr is here as well, who will take the lead on taking follow-ups, managing the process, etc. on all of this. We have Ronan Breen, who is here to provide marketing support for everybody on this call in sort of collaboration with the CA on the projects that you're working on. I don't know if Joe is here. He would do the same on the community side of things. The rest of you, when you speak first during this meeting, please give a quick introduction of who you are and which project you represent. So what are the goals of this DeFi working group? So as I mentioned, we want to identify the gaps and opportunities in the Casper DeFi ecosystem in a collaborative effort, then collectively prioritize those identified deliverables, jointly align and assign responsibilities, and do that in a way that prevents redundancies, right? It doesn't make sure in the small ecosystem that we have that two parties are redundantly working on the same thing when we could be more efficiently spending our time, resources, and capital on unique deliverables. I really hope that we can collaborate in this context openly and transparently with each other. Ultimately, we all stand to benefit from a thriving DeFi ecosystem in this Casper network, with the goal of taking DeFi to the next level. So let's get started. What's new? Just a quick recap of what's going on in our world. So one of the things, so first of all, as most of you know, I was appointed the CTO of Casper Association about a month ago. Maybe it's been longer, time flies, I don't know. But that was as part of a process where, as many of you know, the ecosystem that we had, or the structure that we really had, was a little bit complicated. There are multiple entities. There's the Casper Association and there's Casper Labs. Casper Labs is a for-profit enterprise software company, but at the same time, a lot of the resources that were working on core development were also part of Casper Labs, even though the Casper Association is the entity that is meant to be responsible for core development, protocol, public network, token, and all those things. This process that we set in motion is essentially streamlining responsibilities by putting all resources that are responsible for the network and the token and the protocol under the Casper Association, so that they can work on that and only that without any distractions that may come from other priorities at Casper Labs, such as enterprise software. We have announced and have set in motion, and I believe started to deliver on a renewed focus on mass market use cases. That's where all of you come in, and we'll talk about that more. We have refined the Condor or Casper 2.00 scope. Ed can possibly provide some more context on this or answer any questions you may have in this call. But the long and short of it is that we are close to cutting the release candidate 5 release. Current estimation is actually sometime next week. And then it'll go through testing and hit first the DevNet, and we'll deal with obviously any bugs or issues that come out of that. But the hope is to quickly move on from there to testnet and beyond. When I say refined the scope, I want to just give a quick summary of what that means. As you know, there's been a long list of features that has been worked on for the 2.x branch of the Casper protocol. We have refined essentially what is releasing with 2.00 versus what is coming in 2x later. And I'll explain the reason why. So first of all, 2.0 will ship with the Zook consensus protocol, which is entirely new, but provides for better efficiency, better resiliency, and is ready to provide for better performance as a result. It'll include native events. There's a native CSPR burn feature now where you can actually burn CSPR and it reduces the total supply. And there is a future-ready block structure put in place that essentially puts the plumbing in place for all the other features that are going to be released in the 2x branch. The following point is essentially the explanation as to why we've sort of refined it this way. We want to make sure that the adoption of the 2.0 protocol goes as smoothly as possible, and there are obviously a lot of downstream parties such as yourselves, but also exchanges and other parties that need to adopt 2.x. And rather than going out with something that is fully that essentially requires weeks or months of work to integrate, we wanted to make it so that it's as smooth and seamless as possible transition from 1x to 2x. So we're doing that through various means. So on the one hand, we are optimizing our SDKs to the point where those of you and exchanges, et cetera, who are using SDKs to interact with the network will have an upgrade path that is essentially upgrading their SDK version and then making some minor changes rather than having to reinvent the wheel entirely. And we are putting in place a planned rollout of backward incompatible or sort of major impact features, mostly the ones that would be hitting your contract development and or sort of the handling of a lot of sort of the data that you get back from the node or from the protocol. This includes the account contract merge, which was put behind the feature flag. Feature is completely ready to go. But in the interest of reducing the downstream impact, it'll be released in a 2.x release of Casper rather than 2.00. Same thing with fee elimination, as well as the new virtual machine, which is currently slated for 2.1. We've done a lot of work on improving our community engagement and participation in decision making. This includes a number of things. We'll dig into that a little bit more. We launched the CSPR.fans Telegram application. In the first 3 weeks, we have gained about 250,000 users in that application. And it has actually seen a lot of downstream positive outcomes for many of the projects on our network, including yours, meaning through tasks in this application, many of your applications and your communities have gained thousands or tens of thousands of new users, followers, and participants as well. We have launched the Casper Forum, which is a central forum for all things governance and decision making and discussion, etc., where we will be collecting and have been collecting community feedback and input on important decisions for the network. There's currently a proposal that's being discussed by all the testnet participants in order to finalize what that program is looking like in the future. And like that, we will be engaging around other sort of network level decisions with the community and stakeholders such as yourself. We have made sure that we are engaged with the community on a daily basis. We have held regular AMAs, 2 in the past month. Our X spaces are on a regular schedule, and we have put working groups in place such as this one. We will have another one next week with all the mainnet validators, where we collaborate and communicate and allow all the stakeholders to also directly interact with the Casper Association and specifically with core development. So obviously, as you might imagine, in the validator call, there's an opportunity to ask core development, including Ed, any sort of question about what's happening with Condor and how it affects you downstream. And then last week, we have announced a road to decentralization. Obviously, the Casper Association, as many know, is a Swiss association. It's governed by a board. That board is fairly centralized, as we can put it. The road to decentralization foresees in a mechanism in which stakeholders such as yourselves and validators, delegators, etc., will have a role in appointing the board, as well as certain decisions for the network and the protocol and the token. You can read more about that in the announcement from last week. Let's see, last night, here we go. Trying to get to the next slide, 1 second, please. Okay, so let's talk about our DeFi ecosystem. I want to start with what we have, and I'm not going to go through every one of these, but I went ahead and essentially all of you on this slide were invited. Many of you are here. I've put our DeFi components in categories or brackets. Let's just highlight a few. I think the data providers and Oracle speak for themselves. There may be some names here that you don't recognize. They are either already integrated with Casper or are about to launch. Mobula, Fluidify, and Redstone provide various on-chain data services for Casper. Casper Cloud, everybody should be familiar with. And one of the things that we've done in this transition is make it so that anybody who wants to can make use of Casper Cloud, regardless of cost and things like that. So making sure that anybody who wants to build on Casper can build on Casper in sort of the most convenient way possible. CoinGecko, just putting it out there that they recently announced the integration of friendly markets on CoinGecko, meaning any token that is traded on friendly market can also be reported through CoinGecko, obviously on the site itself, and also via their APIs. AMMs, DEXs, and swaps. I think most of these are familiar to you. There are some that are going to be announced in the near future as well. On the bridges side, Paradiso obviously is one that's heavily used on the network. Router is one that hasn't been publicly announced yet, so I guess that's a scoop. but they're launching on Casper Network in the very near future. One of the things that I want to point out, and I urge you to look into this by just going to routerprotocol.com, they have something that is called Router Intents, which is a integration between sort of a cross-chain integration where you can add a widget or UI to your application, where it's not just bridging tokens from one network to the other, but the bridging action can carry an intent, meaning that you could say, I want to bridge USDC from, let's say, Base to Casper, and then immediately put it in a liquidity pool or stake, or convert half of it to Casper and stake it. So you basically have the ability to do one-click actions from any network into your dApp. The nice thing that Router has offered is to help any of us here on this call to build those intents and make that available. So if you have an application that has the opportunity to bring in users and TVL and things like that from other networks, it could be as simple as one click through Router Intents. On the tokens and Launchpad side, lots of familiar names. I'm sure all of you either are with or familiar with Fatso and Shibu and Mistra, Team Finance as a token minter, and there are some in the works that are going to be announced in the near future as well. On-ramp should be familiar to everybody. Stable coins, obviously a key component of the DeFi ecosystem. We have CSPR USD with Sarson, and I saw John here on the call. We'll talk about that a little bit more. And there is a slightly transparent and overlaid image there of USDC. We are working with Circle on actually making that integration happen. I can't provide a timeline on that. Just let you know that we are in active conversations with them. They're looking at codes. We have smart contracts ready, and we're hopeful that that's moving forward here in the near future as well. Wallets and explorers, obviously necessary to interact with the network. We have plenty of those. And then primitives, right? So ODRA, the ODRA framework is as many of you know, very quick way of creating composable smart contracts, supporting the major token standards on Casper. And speaking of token standards, CP18, the fungible token or ERC20 equivalent, is one of our prime primitives. Obviously, we have others, fungible and semi-fungible standards. We'll talk a little bit more about what needs to happen there. And we have the ST-CSPR liquid staking token that is provided by Paradiso. And we'll talk more about liquid staking as well. Let's keep going. So more on the topic of what do we have, right? So for a long time, native transfers were much more prevalent than smart contract transactions, which is not a good indicator for a network, right? Like for a DeFi network, at least. If you look at the last 5 months, and even with taking the Prove AI test runs out of account, which they've been excluded from this chart, because they would heavily skew it, obviously. Smart contract calls have greatly overtaken native transfer activity on the network, and they continue to grow week by week, which is really a positive indicator and really sort of shows that something is brewing on the Casper network. We have also, in the last weeks, done some positive work on sentiment reversal, right? If you look back a month, 2 months, 3 months ago, the sentiment around Casper was pretty negative. I think if you look at the top left of this slide, this comes from CoinGecko, the public sentiment as measured there was at best maybe 70-30. it's been consistently around 99 to 1. And the narrative on Twitter and on Telegram and everywhere has been fairly positive, not exclusively, but that I don't think is a possible metric, but it's trending in the right direction. And obviously that's positive for all downstream projects as well. Mostly with the help of Casper fans, but also just through more positive sentiment, we have massively grown our audience and our reach. So one might ask, why is this important? Well, on the one hand, a larger audience means a larger addressable market for DeFi applications on Casper, right? We've literally doubled our Telegram audience, for example. And we've broken through, this is an old screen grab, but we've just gone through 200,000 followers on our Twitter account or X accounts. It also means more effective amplification of marketing messages around DeFi apps. So when we work with amplifying your projects, obviously that means we have a greater reach for you as well. And the other side effect of it is that our chain is taken more seriously by other parties, including exchanges and other potential parties, right? So when you talk to exchange, as probably many of you know, one of the questions really is that they have really is like, well, how many followers do you have, and how many community members do you have, and that type of engagement. So being able to show larger numbers is a positive metric that will affect the way that they look at you. Which again will benefit all the parties in this ecosystem. Then part of this call, the objective is to take a really good look in the mirror and talk about what we lack and what we can do better. And this is where I'll go over a list that I've compiled and then open the floor for all of you to weigh in on what I've missed and what else is on your mind in this regard. And then we'll go from there. So let's start with the first and most important one. Obviously, we don't have the volume and TVL that we would like to have. We are at the beginning of a process here, and this is what we need to grow. Obviously, a requirement for that is liquidity, which we can talk about more in this call. We need a stable-backed stable coin. Obviously, a stable coin would imply that it's stable for reasons that we can discuss. Our current ecosystem doesn't have a stable coin. We need an open and ecosystem-wide liquid staking token. So we have a liquid staking token. We need to talk about the future of it, whether we want to evolve it, whether there are other solutions, etc. For our DeFi ecosystem to flourish, we need to have it be discoverable. I think the CoinGecko integration is a first step in that direction, but there are other obvious integrations from a discovery perspective that are important. To name some, things like DApp Radar, DEX Screener, Gecko Terminal, and those kinds of applications. I also have an offer on the table from ChainSpect to integrate Casper, and want to ask, once I open this up at the bottom of this slide, your collective opinions on whether that is important or not. We need a good token minter application, and while we have some solutions like Team Finance, I know that Odra is working on Coral AI, which for those of you who haven't played with it yet, is essentially an AI tool where you can describe the functionality of a token, and then it will write the code for you and compile it and deploy it to the network. It's actually a pretty cool tool, and it's also cool from a sort of story perspective, right? Do we need something that is more in the style of Pump Fun and integrates not just the token minting, but also sort of the community trading and all those kinds of things around it. We also have CSPR.studio, which is a NFT minting solution through point and click. Does it need to be extended to fungible token minting? A very important thing that we need and lack is a holders list and API. This is coming up in CSPR.live, 1.27, for those of you not keeping track of versions on CSPR.live. That is the next upcoming minor release. We need to have good data infrastructure, so the kinds that Alchemy and Infura provides for EVM environments. We have CSPR.cloud, which is, for all intents and purposes, at a similar level for Casper Network. As I said at the beginning of the call, we're making this free for all to use. Obviously, not. That doesn't mean that it's completely open. You still need to create an account and get sort of your account set up with the right rate limiting and things like that. But we don't want to make. We want to make sure that anybody who wants to build on Casper can do so in the best way possible. Burning is important. Native CSPR burning will be in Casper 2.0. We don't have a lending protocol. And our token standards, while we cover many of the sort of prevalent token standards, they are not. They haven't been developed in a consistent way. Their interfaces aren't always similar to what they would be on EVM chains or even to each other. So there's certainly some improvements to be had there, and we need to make an inventory of those improvements and prioritize, etc. I will stop there, and please either use the hand raise mechanism or just start talking if there are other gaps that you see or want to discuss. I don't believe that there are. There you go, Dimitro.
Hello, I am Dmitro. I am a Casper Wallet team lead in the Make, and using DeFi a lot in different blockchains. And in my opinion, lending protocols are essential for this, and probably we should prioritize it upper in this list, as it's pretty convenient to lend, for example, Casper, borrow some stable coins, and then buy additional Casper or probably another token. So I think it would be good if we have one. And also, I can suggest one DeFi aggregator that's very popular on different blockchains, and we currently don't list there. And I think it would be good also to connect with them and to be listed with all our DEXs and with new liquidity protocols in this app. It's like DAppRadar, but probably more like DeFi aggregator with additional features.
Thank you, Dimitro. I saw your note in the chat. So, Adrian, please take that down, or I'm sure we'll have a record of the chat.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, John. Appreciate that. So I know that you're rolling out with an off-ramp that's coming this quarter, you're saying?
Yeah, that's the expectation. Our timeline currently, apologize for the sound of my voice, a little under the weather, apologize. But our timeline is looking, we'll call it mid to late November currently.
Understood.
Yeah.
That's great. I also see a note in the chat from Ihor, who's correcting me, and I'm used to that, saying that our holder API is actually ready, and that the fungible token one for so there's two holder APIs, right? There's the NFT holders and there's the CP18 holders. The CP18 holder API is currently lacking the sorting by balance, but it's coming soon. So that is in the works and available to all of you and everybody already, with some improvements coming soon. If you want to learn how to use it, go to docs.cspr.labs.
Yeah, maybe I just, while I have like this minute of attention, just also on Reddit, it's just a little bit complicated in the current state of fungible token standards on the mainnet, and striking balances it is hard because of old contracts that were developed before the event standard appeared on Casper. So just like going forward, it is important to use the event standard supported by indexer such as Casper Cloud.
Right. Right. So one of the challenges with CP18 is tracking transfers if events are not being used, right? So that's, I guess, a reminder for everyone. If you are building a token, make sure that you use the event standard so that your token can be 100% tracked from a holder's perspective. Kamil, you want to talk about Stargate? What is Stargate? Got it. Stargate is a fully composable liquidity transport protocol that lives at the heart of omni-chain DeFi. So we'll add this to the list of things to look at. Anything else? Go ahead.
It's built with layer 0 technology, so probably it would be also good things to integrate with them.
So we have some layer 0 work done. Ed, are you still around? Yes.
Yep.
Can you provide a little bit of flavor on that to the extent that you know? I know this is in the R&D team, but
I didn't actually process the question.
We have some layer 0 work done in R&D, right?
Yes. For what specifically, though?
So Kamil was suggesting an integration with Stargate Finance, and then Dimitro pointed out that that's based on layer 0. And I'm wondering whether what we have done or researched or built on layer 0 so far.
Yeah, I wasn't involved with that, so I can't speak to it in detail. But
okay.
Basically, we can essentially take the question and follow up with Mark.
Yeah.
And provide the answer. Yeah.
Okay, great. So please, Adrian, also take that down as a follow-up. Anything else amongst this group from a gap perspective when we've taken this look at our ecosystem? What else is comes to mind that we are sorely lacking or can do better?
Probably some derivatives, but I think it has less priority. So probably
we'll add it to the list, right? So we're starting with an inventory, and prioritization comes next. So appreciate that. Derivatives.
And maybe to build on what you're saying, Michael, for all the projects that are live on Casper, what do you guys need to get more traction? I'm thinking team finance, I'm thinking Sarsen. It might be technical, might be liquidity, might be marketing. This is really a time where we can collect all the wishes, and then line up resources to deliver that.
Exactly. So just to reiterate that point, like growing and improving our DeFi ecosystem is a top priority for Casper. So this is a forum in which you make your asks, and we can obviously follow up in one-on-ones. But since we're in collaborative mode, if something applies to you, it probably applies to somebody else on this call as well.
Yeah. Hi. Thank you both for this forum. This is great. So I'm John Sarson, the CEO at Sarson Funds. I have a few of my portfolio managers on the line. Also, we're big proponents of Casper and Casper's ecosystem. We're a U.S. domiciled cryptocurrency hedge fund manager. We build some products occasionally. One thing we wanted to build was a stablecoin for Casper, since we have really great banking relationships. And so we have the stablecoin built, the Casper USD, CSPR USD. It's on the friendly market pool. What we haven't been able to do is basically manage that stablecoin effectively. We're too busy. We've got too many other projects going on. We're not market makers. And we're looking for partners that would want to maybe help us in the running of that stablecoin so that it stays stable. That would require becoming an authorized participant with us so that you can redeem CSPR USD with us for cash. And it also is going to probably require some Casper tokens from the Casper Association, because the way that the friendly swap markets are set up. We can put in the CSPR USD, put in a couple 100,000, make that a reasonable size pool. But then the other side of the pool is a 50-50 pool. So we need the same amount of Casper tokens in there for the pool to remain balanced. I don't know if it's the Casper Association or Casper Labs that wants to do that, if there's someone on the call that has that kind of capabilities. The reason why the stablecoin has become unpegged is because basically we don't have the programs in-house at Sarson Funds to manage that systematically. And if anyone on this call does, would be open to partnerships, because I think that having that stablecoin be a fully functioning stablecoin would be amazing for the ecosystem. So you can DM me, you can email me, jsarson@sarsonfunds.com, or you can speak up now, or if anybody has any ideas. I mean, we've kind of got the hard part figured out with the compliant U.S. banking functions, functioning, but we don't have the manpower or the systems in place to arbitrage that against Casper token, and we'll be looking for some strategic partners to help us get that done.
I appreciate that, John, and obviously anybody is free to jump on that right now, or follow up directly with John, and please keep me in the loop. But I like the sort of collaborative way that you've positioned this in the interest of the ecosystem. Obviously, having a stable coin is extremely important. You pointed out the need for more CSPR liquidity. One of the things that I failed to mention and wanted to around the liquidity points, obviously, as I mentioned, priority for CA, and CA has ability to help there as well. But I also wanted to point out, and that this, I guess, goes under the DeFi, what do we have banner, not what do we lack. But we have a lot of large holders and ecosystem supporters who have indicated that they are interested in providing liquidity for DeFi projects in our ecosystem. So as long as we have a compelling DeFi project and ecosystem, they are ready to put their liquidity in there and support the growth of it. So that's just another thing for all of you to keep in mind, that there are ways of handling this, and we will. But yeah, let's explore that both with this group and offline, John, because we'd love to make sure that CSPR USD is functional and can be underpinning this DeFi ecosystem.
Yeah.
What's that, Alize?
We want every project to use it, and we work with large market makers, so there might be something there as well to support you.
Yeah,
Sure.
exactly.
Great.
Maybe we need to put some consortium together. Exactly.
Okay, well that'd be great. Yeah, we'll love to see this thing functioning well. And we realize it's not functioning well right now because it's become unpegged, but it requires someone monitoring it, probably through programmatically, so that if it starts to get away from the intrinsic price of Casper, then someone's buying or selling to arbitrage that back to parity with the dollar. And in order to do that, you have to be able to redeem CSPR USD with us, and we're happy to onboard anyone that's interested in taking on that program through our KYC process, so they can be that authorized participant to redeem with us. So yeah, let us know.
Perfect. We'll get on that. Thank you, John. I see another question from John at Uphold in the chat. Can we expect these types of town hall / working groups to continue? This was a fantastic temperature check. Matt already answered yes. That's the short answer. The more detailed answer is yes, absolutely. We plan to make this DeFi working group a regularly recurring meeting, probably on a monthly cadence. We are also planning other working groups, such as mainnet validator working group that will come together also on a monthly basis, where core development engineers will be present to answer any questions about the nodes, the protocol, how to optimize your deployment, et cetera, et cetera. And we're exploring other forums as well. But those are the two main ones: this DeFi working group, the validator working group, and then obviously we have the general community calls and X spaces and things like that.
Hello, if I can jump in real quick.
Please, Lorenzo.
Yeah, John, we already spoken, but we're also working on a stable coin in our roadmap. First of all, we are working on making a new liquid staking protocol. I already talked with Michael about this, and we want to make it as official as possible. A couple of my partners, they already did this on several other chains, and it worked really well. And I think we can easily do the same for Casper. And I've also spoken with a good amount of Casper whales, and they're all, more than willing to put up their Casper and get staked Casper, right? If it's official and it's secure, I mean, they will just be getting a higher APY while actually helping the chain. So we can easily expect a couple 100 million Casper from them. And we also spoken with a couple of validators. They're also very interested in that. So I think that's like the easiest way we have to really increase the total value locked for Casper on chain. We can even stake the staked Casper in the same protocol and increase it even further on websites like DeFi Llama and those kinds of platforms. And on top of that, there would be a stable coin also collateralized. I mean, at the very least, we can have our stable coin paired with Casper USD. That could help. If not, we can also incentivize people to continue. I mean, the more stable coins we have, I mean, we don't need like 100, but it's not bad to have 2 or 3. I mean,
it's not bad, but we're also like, obviously when we're fragmentation at the current size of our ecosystem is not ideal, I think. So Lorenzo, so first of all, thanks for talking about this. So you basically, between you and John, you touched on point 3 and 4 here. We were going to talk more about liquid staking, right? So I think that one of the most under-leveraged assets that we have is actually our liquid staking, right? We have a proof of stake protocol with a fairly high APY. I think it's tracking at above 14% at the moment, which is an attractive instrument, but we are not leveraging it. We need to come to terms with how we approach liquid staking, and we know there is a implementation ST-CSPR by Paradiso. It's not entirely clear whether or not that implementation is future-proof from a business perspective. Which means we are exploring, including with you, Lorenzo, alternatives, right? And that has to be an open ecosystem-wide liquid staking token that everybody can leverage, that is supported by the entire community, that is obviously audited and as open as possible. On the stablecoin side, rather than with the project that you're talking about, and I think all of us who've seen it so far are extremely excited about, Lorenzo, rather than trying to reinvent the wheel on the stablecoin side, it may make sense to have a conversation with you and John and us to see if we can combine forces on CSPR USD and get that to the point where it's usable for this as well as everything else in the ecosystem. So I'd like to follow up on that in the near future.
Yeah, I mean, we'd definitely be open to collaboration. You know, we tried to build the stablecoin with future proofing in mind, and that's why it's one-to-one collateralized with dollars held in a U.S. bank. Like I spend a lot of time on regulation, and I really see stablecoin regulation requiring $1 of U.S. assets held in a U.S. financial institution for U.S. participation in stablecoins. It's boring. It's not very exciting, but it's functioning. It works, and we use like a U.S. bank, and we have one-to-one collateralization. So Lorenzo, I'd be more than happy to kind of hand you like control over that project if it like gives you the peace of mind you need in order to incorporate that in what you're building. You know, we're happy to stay on as like a minority partner. It's kind of like maybe like an operational partner with the banking connections that we have and that we've already established.
Sure. I mean, I think that could work. And what Camille is saying is also true.
Yeah, just so everybody hears that, if you're not following the chat or calling in from a phone, Camille is saying, I appreciate the CSPR USD initiative, but I think we should focus more on integrating stable coins that are common in DeFi on each network, like USDT, USDC, and DAI. This will make it easier to get TVL into Casper, and combined with Stargate Finance, it will be cheap, fast, secure, and cross-chain. So I think everybody agrees on the value of integrating these common stable coins, and whether it's Stargate or we know what router will be providing as well, which is already on the point of being almost ready. That'll be a way of getting TVL from other networks into Casper. I don't think that necessarily precludes what we're discussing here with CSPR USD at all.
Like a pool with a USDT pool versus Casper USD would be an ideal way to make that happen. It's not so easy to get like Tether or Circle to
Tether is very hard. Circle, as I mentioned earlier, we're making some progress there, and we actually have implementations that are being looked at by Circle as we speak. I know that we're coming up on like we have 7 minutes left on the clock here. So we go ahead, Lorenzo. I thought you were saying something.
No, it wasn't me.
It was me.
Dimitri.
I mean that about the USDT and USDC, it's possible that we can use like bridged USDT.
Wrapped stablecoin.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's I think also okay as almost all people trust layer 0, and because of that their assets would be viable.
AJ at Router, do you want to add something to that? Just from your perspective.
I sorry, I missed the question.
The bridging of USDC, USDT, etc. to Casper via sort of layer 0.
In fact, writing it to you only.
Yeah, sorry, AJ,
we
can't really hear you. Your voice is muffled.
We have a real AI now.
Not yet. Hold on. Try again. We still don't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, much better. Go ahead.
My AirPods died. Yeah. So what I was trying to say was that I was actually writing it to you only when this USDC question came in, especially the Circle part of it. We are utilizing Circle for all our USDC transfers, along with the route which we provide at Router. So that means that anywhere, wherever CCTP is existing, Circle is existing for USDC transfers, we are existing there. In fact, even for our USDC transfers to any other networks, we utilize same format of what CCTP does, so that even tomorrow when they come to that new, for example, now if they are coming to Casper, we will create the standard as what Circle is going to do. so that even it becomes easier for them tomorrow. So you specifically don't have to go to straight away Circle integration. We will be able to support that.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, and we designed CSPR USD to match the USDC standards for all of its functionality and operation efficiency. So that way, when Circle's ready to come on a Casper chain, they can just like we can just like do a token swap, and they'll be able to kind of assume those assets. We kind of thought that would be the long-term play. The problem with wrapping a stable coin is that wrapped digital assets are not considered good collateral for stablecoins, so they're going to have problems on U.S. exchanges.
Exactly. So this is what even we had realized, John, and that is why we created the standard for that. To have a format which is doable tomorrow also. I mean, for future references, so that we don't have to redo the work. And it's obviously, I mean, the other good aspect is that the USDC transfers through Circle takes a bit of more time. I mean, at certain times around 20 minutes, but the same transfer via router is much faster. You guys can have a look. Probably Michael can give the whole website and how we have. So with whatever networks we have connected with, we are already connected with almost 35 plus chains, and we just integrated with Solana, and that announcement also has gone in. And we're going to integrate with the Move-based chains also. Sui is going to come next week. So we are EVM, non-EVMs, Osmosis. I mean, that is the Cosmos side of chain. So everywhere. So in fact, even the transfer of USDC towards Cosmos side of it is what we are planning to do with Noble, because Noble is the one which is getting USDC to the Cosmos chains. So even that integration, we are looking into it.
And AJ, most of your bridging transactions settle within 16 seconds, if I remember correctly.
That is a bit longer, so it is under 20 seconds.
Okay, great. Which is fantastic. Yeah, I urge everybody to take a look at routerprotocol.com and also take a look at the router intents that I mentioned earlier in the meeting, because it's a very convenient way of enabling your application for access from other networks and chains.
Yep. In fact,
easiest
Michael,
way
I
to
will
get
take
Circle
this.
to like improve Casper chain is to show some volume. I mean, that's what they want to see. So,
that's why that's the number one point on this bullet list. Yes.
In fact, I was adding Michael to this. I mean, I was just checking the ecosystem, and you have those the staking protocols and LRTs. In fact, we can help there also with those adapters. We have already those adapters live with various LRT protocols. So in case, I mean, you have an ecosystem staking protocol, even DEXs for that matter, we can support for them to go cross-chain and bring in TVLs from other chains.
That's fantastic. And again, paired with the relatively high APY that we have on Casper, it really becomes an attractive instrument. So we as a group here need to put our efforts and focus on it. Thanks for adding that, AJ. With 2 minutes left, I'm going to move on, and we'll obviously there's a lot more to discuss, and we'll keep doing that on an ongoing basis. That brings us to what the next steps are, which are we will start putting together a dashboard. Adrian will work on that. It will likely be a Google Sheet of some sorts, TBD. Of a couple things, what folks are working on, and like I said earlier, we want to make sure that we avoid redundancy as much as possible so that we can maximize output. We will also track some of the or all of the suggestions that have been made here, and we'll use that as a prioritization tool. We're going to establish an asynchronous channel on Telegram with hopefully all of you in it. Any of you who want to attend next week's Validator Connect call, where we will dive a lot deeper into Condor and what's happening with Casper 2.0 with the core engineering team, you're welcome to. That will be next Tuesday at the exact same time as this call. We are going to document the gap analysis that, as I mentioned, that we've started here per category. And that will be shared through the same dashboard as mentioned under point number 1. We'll continue to have discussions with this group, both as a group as well as one-on-one or in smaller groups about the gaps and who can contribute what and how we collaborate. I ask everybody to keep Adrian on the loop on progress and challenges and blockers, and this can be either directly or through our asynchronous channel. And I invite you all to continue to attend these. This is going to be a monthly working group call. The next one I saw in my calendar was November 5th. I think we have yet to formally confirm that, but it'll happen within the next 3-4 weeks. And then finally, I want to leave you with the point of all this is really to collaborate and empower each other. I mean, the discussion that just happened between John and Lorenzo is fantastic, AJ as well. Raise issues, keep us honest, ask your questions, and ultimately it's about building and launching. That's all we have on the agenda today. Really, really appreciative of all of you contributing your time and effort to this. We all at Casper Association believe that we're at the beginning of something great, and this group here is in a position to, you're all at the ground floor of Casper's hopefully soon flourishing DeFi ecosystem. So thank you again very much. My DMs on Telegram and everywhere else are always open to you, and please follow up. And I look forward to seeing you again at the latest at the next one. But feel free to hit me up whenever you want. Thank you, everyone, for participating.